He had studied the law since his youth. He could recite the sacred words without hesitation. He knew what was written, what was commanded, what was praised. Yet knowing was never the same as living. What does it truly mean to love? Is love something spoken aloud in prayer, or something chosen when it demands sacrifice? What happens when suffering stands directly in our path and we decide whether to draw near or turn aside? What happens when faith passes by but compassion does not follow? This is a story about a question that sounded holy yet searched for limits. A story about comfort, caution, and the quiet justifications of the heart. But above all, it is a story about mercy, unexpected mercy, mercy that crosses boundaries, mercy that stops when others keep walking. It begins on a road few traveled without fear. The road from Jerusalem to Jericho cut sharply downward through barren hills scorched by the sun. It twisted through narrow passes where jagged rocks rose like walls on either side, casting long shadows that shifted with the light. The wind moved constantly through the ravines, carrying dust, heat, and a sense of danger that never fully left the air. Travelers spoke of this road in hushed tones, not because it was long, but because it was unforgiving. Robbers knew its curves well. Escape was rare. Help was never guaranteed. A man was walking alone. His footsteps echoed softly against the stone, swallowed almost as soon as they were made. He carried little, just enough to survive the journey. Each step was measured, cautious. He adjusted the strap on his shoulder and glanced ahead, then behind. The silence felt heavy, the kind that sharpened the senses and made the heart beat faster. The sun climbed higher, pressing its heat against his skin. He pulled his cloak closer, though it offered little protection. Every bend in the path hid what lay beyond. Every shadow felt deeper than the last. Then it happened. Without warning, figures burst from the rocks. Rough hands seized him before he could cry out. A violent blow sent him crashing to the ground, the air driven from his lungs in a painful rush. He tried to shield himself, but fists and feet came down again and again. The sky spun, stones scraped against his skin, pain flared everywhere at once. "Please," he whispered, the word thin and broken. No one answered. They stripped him of his cloak, tore away what little he carried, and struck him once more before vanishing back into the hills. Their footsteps faded as suddenly as they had come, swallowed by the same silence that had hidden them. The man lay still. Blood ran down the side of his face, dark against the dust. His body ached in places he could not name. His chest rose and fell unevenly, each breath a struggle. He tried to move his arm, but it would not obey him. The sun continued its slow climb. Heat pressed down on his broken body, draining what little strength remained. Flies gathered in the stillness. The road stretched in both directions, empty and indifferent, as though nothing had happened at all. Time blurred. Minutes felt like hours. Hours slipped into something he could no longer measure. Was anyone coming? The road did not answer. He lay there, stripped, beaten, half dead, one human life abandoned between two cities. Everything now depended on who might pass by next and whether they would choose to stop. Far down the road, a figure appeared. At first it was only a shape against the bright stone, moving steadily. Footsteps broke the silence, slow, deliberate, confident. A priest was coming down the road. His robe caught the sunlight as he walked, its edges brushing the dust with care. He moved with purpose, accustomed to respect, to recognition, to being greeted with reverence. He had sacred duties, places to be, responsibilities that could not be delayed. As he drew closer, something beside the road caught his eye. He slowed. There, lying just off the path, was a body. The priest stopped. The wind seemed to soften. The hill stood silent. He stepped closer, squinting against the glare of the sun. The man was barely recognizable, bloodied, bruised, unmoving. His clothes were gone. Whatever dignity he once carried had been stripped away with them. The priest lingered. He could see the faint rise and fall of the man's chest. He's alive. The thought tightened his chest. He scanned the hills. What if the attackers were still nearby? What if this was a trap? The road behind him offered safety. The path ahead offered uncertainty. He looked at his hands, clean, unstained, set apart for sacred things. These hands offered sacrifice. These hands blessed. To touch blood would mean defilement. To become unclean would disrupt everything, his duties, his role, his standing. Helping would take time. Helping would carry risk. Helping would cost him something. Someone else will come, he told himself. Someone better suited. Someone with less to lose. The wounded man stirred. His fingers twitched weakly in the dust. His lips trembled, trying to form a sound that would not come. The priest hesitated, just long enough to know he was choosing. Then he stepped to the other side of the road. His sandals scraped against the stone as he passed. His robe brushed the air where mercy might have been. He fixed his eyes ahead and did not look back. The sound of his footsteps faded. Silence returned. Hope dimmed. The injured man lay where he was, weaker than before. The sun burned hotter. The chance to choose mercy had passed. A long while later, another figure appeared. Footsteps again, careful, measured. A Levite approached, trained in sacred service, familiar with holy things. He noticed the shape on the ground and stepped closer, close enough to see the blood, the shallow breath. "Help me," the wounded man whispered. The Levite's face tightened. He looked around. The road was still. The hills were silent. "If I stop, what will it cost me?" Rules, risks, consequences crowded his thoughts. Slowly he straightened, turned away, and continued on. Again, footsteps faded. Again, hope slipped away. The injured man no longer searched the horizon, expecting nothing hurt less than hoping again. Then another figure appeared. A Samaritan. An outsider, one taught to be avoided, one spoken of with suspicion and contempt. Many would cross the road simply to avoid him. He walked on until he saw the body. He stopped. Their eyes met. For the first time, someone did not turn away. Compassion rose in him, not calculation, not fear, but a deep ache that demanded action. He knelt. He drew near. He touched wounds. He poured oil and wine. He bound what violence had broken. He lifted the man onto his own animal and walked beside him through the night. At an inn he stayed. He watched. He paid. He promised to return. Mercy had a cost: time, comfort, safety, resources. But because he stopped, a man lived. 3 men saw the same suffering. Only one became a neighbor. Not the one who knew the law best, not the one with the right title, but the one who showed mercy. And the invitation remains: go and do the same. Because love is not meant to be spoken only, it is meant to be lived.